Good morning.
Good morning, Representative. Good morning, everyone. I am Adam Schwend, and I have here Representative Suzanne Weber, as always. Good morning, Representative.
Good morning. Can you just believe how beautiful a day it is? And this morning when I got up at 6 o'clock, it was kind of misty or hazy outside, and the moon was that pale yellow, just about in the west here, and it was absolutely gorgeous. It was a wonderful day to be alive.
It was, and I live quite a ways up, well, not quite a ways, a number of miles up Highway 6, and it was kind of cloudy when we first woke up this morning, but I see now that it is quite sunny, and I can tell you that my background is not where I'm at. So, but it's still sunny. It's still sunny.
I'm here in the kitchen left.
Yes. Everybody knows your kitchen.
And if the timer goes off, while we're talking, I have to go and check something in the oven. Okay.
Okay, that's fine. Okay. That's fine. We'll let that go. I'll vamp.
Okay.
What a week.
Boy, howdy. We came in there prepared to spend the week working, and by Monday, end of about 1 o'clock, we discovered that COVID was in the building, snuck in somehow, dirty rascal, and we were basically shut down for the rest of the week, except for our virtual meetings. And so everyone left quickly, and many of my colleagues, both on the Republican and the Democrat side, rushed to be tested unless they were fully vaccinated, and then they didn't have to be. But it really put a damper on my spirit for getting things done, because I could see that we were reading through bills, we were working toward the end. We are on a limited time frame, and we have been given over 4,000 bills to have to consider. And we have also met some really important deadlines. The 19th, if something wasn't scheduled by the 19th of March, and for a work session especially, then it probably wasn't going to move forward. And so there were a lot of things that had been moved forward, and they aren't. There's many that are not going to be heard, and some of them are real stinkers, and they don't need to be heard. But there's a lot of good bills too that needed to be considered, and we weren't doing the work. Now, remember that we're not going to be putting these bills forward any longer, other than the ones we have already scheduled, and everything is either going to go to revenue or to rules or ways and means, because anything that has a fiscal impact has got to go to another level. And, the Senate is working through these same issues with timelines, and they've had some very interesting debates, and what they pass then will come over to us, and what we pass will go over to them. And by the end of June, it will all be worked out. Now, this is difficult because, our prime reason for being there is to make sure that the budget is going to be established and is going to be passed so that we can work through the next biennium. And, there are a lot of states that actually they took spring break in their legislature, and they are working primarily on the budget, because they know that they need that budget to be able to go forward. And I feel that we have put so many roadblocks in the way that we're not working as hard as we can to get to that budget point. I don't know how it's all going to turn out, but I know that in the end, we have to have a balanced budget moving forward. Otherwise, we don't have money for schools or public safety or any of the other really important things that need to be considered in society.
So you did mention, I think, the most important first deadline, and there are other deadlines that we'll talk about as we go along throughout the session. But that first bill deadline was
Yes.
March 19th, and by 5 o'clock on March 19th, a bill must have its first a work session, so a vote, not just a public hearing, but a vote scheduled in committee of its chamber of origin. So
Yes. Yes.
if it's a House bill, it needs to, and it's been assigned to a committee, it needs to have a work session scheduled by that time. So there was a whole lot of going back and forth. I can tell you in the background saying, is my bill going to get scheduled? Is my bill going to get scheduled? Is my bill going to get scheduled? And I think keeping in mind this 4,000 bills or more, one would think that with this session being that it is, that would be limited. And unfortunately, I think just hearing how you have thought, it's unfortunate that we weren't just focusing, as you said, on budget, on COVID relief, and on wildfires. Right. Those are the really, really big pressing things that we have.
Those are the most pressing things that we have to address in this session.
And the longer, the longer that everyone is in that building, the more chances of this situation of the legislature getting spring break the hard way, I guess.
Yes, well, evidently we had spring break, but it brought a lot of people when they heard this. They said, well, don't they check your temperature when you come into the building? No. Don't you have to answer the questions like you do when you go to the dentist? No, we do wear our masks all of the time, and we do maintain our 6 feet distance of separation, and we do limit the number of people that can be on the floor so that there isn't a great deal of contact, but still it was there. And like I said, people had really good questions about the Capitol maybe not doing its due diligence to make sure that someone wasn't coming in with COVID.
And, right now you're having to read the bills in full. When those bills are being read, you can be in your office. So that's probably the safest time for everyone, is that when those bills are being read, most of you leave the floor and come back when the voting alarm starts going off. It's a very pleasant sound if anybody's ever heard it.
It's not a pleasant sound, but let me tell you, that bell goes off until I don't know how many minutes it is, but it's a real annoying sound. It gets your attention. You better get to the floor because you've got to vote. And there are a lot of opportunities to be able to vote. You can vote from the gallery. You can vote by fingerprint, and you can vote from your desk. So there are ways that you can get there and vote quickly. But what you need to do is you need to be informed, and you need to have read the bills and the premise that they are stating, and you have to decide whether or not you support it and whether it's good for your area. Is it good for rural Northwest Oregon? Each one of those needs to be put under that lens.
Right. And since you have so many bills, and since floor sessions have been so limited, you guys are moving at a clip that maybe making it so that isn't happening. Those bills aren't being scrutinized as much as they should be. We found this out the hard way with HB 2060. So tell us what happened there.
Well, in scrutinizing that bill, it was discovered that it nullified or invalidated a prior Oregon law. Now, that Oregon law is very important because it allows someone who has been had unfortunate action against them in some situation, and they're younger, like school age, to allow their name and their circumstances to be open to the public, and then take away their ability to sue. So if someone in a school district is abused, rape, all of those unfortunate things that actually happen, then it took away all the protection that that person had to be able to get just, help in the future, and to be able to bring it to the attention of the public, but also to have other people bring their names and their circumstances to the public. And that wasn't right. You can't do that.
I think there was one particular thing is that the law actually makes it so that somebody who has their name released after a crime has been committed against them recklessly, not oops, I sent the wrong email, oops, my name, I accidentally slipped, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do it, but if somebody recklessly releases a rape victim's information to the public, like that means they did it on purpose.
That's
and it
exactly
makes it so
right.
that a student for whom that happens can't sue. And it's particularly weird because the bill really had nothing to. Sometimes you'll have a statute be repealed in a bill because it needs to be repealed for this bill to work.
Yes.
This repealing the statute made no sense.
It wasn't related at all to the basic purpose of the rule. And it was another time when bipartisanship really showed itself, because I was prepared to make a motion on the bill to return it to either rules or to another committee so it could be looked at and scrutinized before we had a vote on it. But our Democrat folks on the other side, they realized that there was a serious issue there also, and they made the motion to take it back to rules or to another committee to look into it. And I will tell you that we're going to continue to look into how in the world that happened, that people's rights could be taken away that easily just by putting a number in a bill.
Yes, I will say we'll be looking at who made this occur. So I will say this bill was at the request of the governor.
Yes.
Who introduced it at the request of the Oregon Department of Education. So those two organizations, those two offices they need to answer for this, and that our office will be reaching out to them asking for an explanation.
Okay, remember when I told you when we started talking that I may have to check the oven?
Is it time?
It's time for me to check the oven. I'll be right back.
Very good. Very good. So as I said, I'll vamp. So that bill was HB 2060. And as I said, Representative Weber's office will be reaching out to find out how this happened. Was this a scrivener's error? Was a wrong statute referenced? Was this an innocent mistake? But even innocent mistakes need to be dealt with. So HB 2060, fortunately, it was referred, as Representative Weber said, to the Rules Committee, where it was truly sent to die, which is unfortunate because that bill actually had a lot of really good things in it.
It did.
And this poison pill was introduced.
Right. But it's another one. It's another one of those times. This bill was 14 pages long. And it was started to be read the week before. And so, as the bill was being read and the attention was being brought to it, all of a sudden that became clear. And this is another reason why it is a good idea to read those bills so that those actions can be taken care of before we have dire consequences.
Had the rules been suspended like they normally are, and the bill was not read in full, chances are that bill would have passed. It would have passed the House and would have been sent off to the Senate, and maybe it would not have gotten the scrutiny that it did.
Right.
So I know there's some people frustrated that the bills are being read in full, but too bad. It's in the Constitution. It is in the House rules. And given this situation where we're just ramming so many bills through, I think it is good to slow down and actually consider what we're doing. So another fun thing you did, based on some emails that the office has been getting, is speak with the director of Oregon OSHA.
Yes, I did.
Yes, that was a fun
Asked
meeting.
him some rather pointed questions because we've been getting a lot of emails. A lot of people were very angry with what OSHA was doing, what it was perceived it was doing, and not understanding it. And their message was not coming off clearly. And so we had a meeting and basically to clear all this up, because, you know, when you get all of these emails concerning things, you need to have the right answers to be able to tell people. And as you know, I don't feel that they're always very clear and open with us. You know, they come down with all of their rules, and then you have to read between the lines to be able to figure out what they are. And they're usually harsh and hard to understand. And this is another example of that. What they basically told us, and Adam, you can correct me if I'm wrong, I know we took a lot of notes on that one, was that after the emergency is declared and so much time lapses, the law says that then it has to go into a general rule. But at the end of this, the general rule will be taken off the books. And I am talking about mask wearing. That this is not, according to the leader, going to be a mandate that's going to last eternally. This is something that is going to end. But because of the rules we are operating under right now, they are going ahead with making it mandatory to a point.
Right.
Now, did I express that correctly, Adam?
Yeah,
we got a lot of double speak in there, and
yeah, I think a lot of it has a lot to do with government ease, the words that are used in the process. I think, as you rightfully said, after a certain amount of time, you can have temporary emergency rules that are put in, and that's what the mask mandate was put in on that. Under that, after a certain amount of time, those rules have to go through what's called the permanent rule making process, right. And that requires public input and the like. We spoke with Director Wood, Michael Wood of Oregon OSHA, who absolutely insisted without any hesitation at all that these rules, even though they have to go through what's legally called a permanent rulemaking, will not be permanent, and they will be revoked. I will say, honestly, in those rules, the mask wearing is probably one of the least of my concerns. Mm-hmm. There are other issues in there that we're going to be working with OSHA and expressing the office's and your concern about privacy issues, running afoul of federal law, of HIPAA law. We're going to be dealing, those are the much larger ramifications. The mask side, really, as annoying and frustrating as they are, that's not saying that you will not be not be using executing, right?
You'll be executed if you don't.
Freudian, I guess.
No.
You'll be exercising legislative oversight, and we made that very clear to Director Wood that we're watching him. Yes. And but that is what you do. Really encourage people who are concerned about these rules first to go read the rules,
Yes.
And if you follow Representative Shelley Bosshart Davis on Facebook, she had a great post
Yes, she did.
about and if you don't, you should. Shelley Bosshart Davis, go in and follow her on Facebook. If you have read the rules and you do want to voice your opinion, the record is open, and you can email the director, and you send your comments at tech.web@oregon.gov. That's tech.web@oregon.gov. And if you go to Representative Bosshart Davis's Facebook page, it also gives you a mailing address and links to read the rules if you have not read them yet. And I must admit that I have not read all of them, but Director Wood does say that in the rules, it specifically says that the mask mandate will be lifted at the end of the state of emergency. So it's one of those things that you have to work with people, and you may not like everything that they do, but you can absolutely shine a light and a microscope on them to make sure that the people can see what they are doing and how they're doing it, and how the people can make sure that their voices are heard.
Right. And that is something that we all have a responsibility to be vigilant. It's one of these things where you have to be able to know what's going on, and you have to know that you have the right in all of these issues to testify and to give someone your opinion. Senator Johnson has a wonderful YouTube video on how to use OLS. OLS is the Oregon State, it's the way you get into the legislature and the way you can weigh in with your opinions and your testimony. It shows you how to do that. It also tells you all of the bills that are in committees. You go to the committee, you find out which bills they're considering. If you're interested in labor or judicial or education or housing, you go there and you find out which bills are going to have a work session, and you can click on that and you can find out exactly what the bill says and see how it applies to you. I can't stress enough. I used to just read in the newspaper or what I heard on TV about what was going on, not knowing that I had this gift to be able to find out what my legislators and my senators were actually doing. And it is a gift. Now, sometimes it all doesn't work all that well, but it is a responsibility that we have to keep informed and to know that people are doing their jobs, and that's it.
Right. And just if I can make a couple of recommendations, and you really bring it up, is that you read it in the newspaper, you see it on social media, and you go into outrage mode. And social media especially is truly the echo chamber of the damned. It can really, it's designed to rile you up.
Yes.
And sometimes with good reason. But what I'd really recommend you do when you are writing to state agencies to make your opinion known about rules, or when you're writing your legislators, lay off the profanity, lay off the just absolute angry outrage. It does your cause no good. It does not help things. Use true. If you have stories that you can tell about how things are affecting you,
exactly,
those sorts of things are helpful. But just the all caps screaming outrage, veiled threats, those aren't helpful. They are not going to make your cause known, and it isn't going to make things better.
And yes, I do understand that you get angry when you get sound bites. You need to take those sound bites that are making you angry and research them and see what people are doing about them. I can't say that enough, because I realize once again that people haven't been paying attention, and there is a group that's really active in putting civics back into the classroom as one of the social studies requirements. And I hope they're successful, because
Absolutely.
I think that maybe there's something in our education that we have let go by the wayside in order to focus on something else. And
Schoolhouse
what
Rock
I
was
think.
important. Schoolhouse Rock was important. How a bill becomes law. Those are real things. And your voice does matter. It really does. But when you come off immediately angry, I can tell you the people who are reading the email on the other side, they've shut off at that point, because
Yes, they have.
it's really easy to send an angry email when you don't realize that the other person on the other side is a human being.
Yes.
So that's my soapbox.
Well, it's a soapbox that's you share, we share. And I think that anybody who is really paying attention shares that same soapbox.
Well, let's talk about something that's happy. We always like to try to end this up with something that is happy. And as we were starting this, before we hit record, we genuinely had a struggle of finding something that was happy.
Yeah, right.
We did one thing that we did think, and you touched on it a little bit, and that's the amount of bipartisanship and working together that happens that a lot of folks don't see.
They don't.
I watch a lot of your committees, and I also see how the sausage gets made behind the scenes. And one thing that I have been really impressed with is when a bill sponsor throws a bill out there from one side of the aisle, and
Yes.
members on the other side of the aisle, they want to get to yes. They want
Yes.
to support the bill for the most part. Now, don't get me wrong. There are plenty of bridges too far that
Yes.
I know you won't go on, and that sometimes you just have to dig your heels in and say, we're going to fight to kill this bill. But I'd say probably 80% of the time, you and your colleagues are actually working to make a bill better. And the folks on the other side that may have introduced the bill, they want to make the bill better. They want to bring you on board.
I will tell you that I am so pleased with the bipartisan participation and support of many of these bills, and the ability in committees to work across the aisle to, like you said, make them better. And we have committee vice chair meetings, and there's we all agree, being from different parties, on what we need to work on and what we need to make better and what isn't going to work. I am very pleased with that. And then, we do have the Coastal Caucus too.
Yes.
The Coastal Caucus is the senators and representatives from up and down the coast. Senator Johnson, Senator Anderson, myself, Representative Gomberg and Wright and David Brock Smith. And we are a mix of party affiliations. But what we are doing is working together to make sure that the coast comes out a winner. We have taken several regional issues and worked together as a committee with, for instance, the South Jetty. We're working on the South Jetty. We're working on Fish Trap Lake and their situation. We're working on the issues that are related to some of our farms in the area, and we're working as a team. And it's across the aisle. There's Republicans and Democrats. We're evenly affiliated, and I appreciate that.
It's really impressive, those meetings. They are very candid.
Yes.
It's rare that you use formal titles. It's about getting the work done. And
yes.
You're not Democrats, you're not Republicans, you're coastal legislators. And I have seen so much work get accomplished in that. And I don't want to come across as Pollyannish. I don't think either of us
No, because there's
don't want to
problems.
say that we don't have some real issues with what happens on the other side, and they have some real issues with us, and that is the way it is. That's the way it's going to be, right?
Yeah.
But
At the same time, we're working together, and that's what you're not necessarily always seeing.
Right. The bipartisanship doesn't get clicks. It doesn't get likes. It doesn't get ratings.
No.
So you're watching the news and you're seeing the two leaders in either chamber just biting at each other. That's the stuff that gets people riled up, and it gets people to click on to links, and it makes other people money. But that's a real small part of what's happening. And really behind the scenes, it's really impressive to me how you guys really not only work together, but actually go out of your way to want to work with each other so that you can come across. And if you go take a look, great mention of OLIS. If you take a look at OLIS, you can also see how people have voted. And if you take a look at committees, I would say so far 80 to 90% of bills that have come out of committee have come out unanimously.
Yes. You're so right. The agreement there is amazing. And we have other opportunities for socializing too. Sure, they're virtual, but we have the women who get together on Wednesday nights that are both Republican and Democrat, and we talk about a lot of things virtually. I think it's called happy hour, but we have learned a lot about each other and what our concerns are, and it's on beyond what kind of a party we belong to. We're members of the human race, and we're all trying to work together for equitable solutions to society's problems.
Well, Representative, I think that's what we got for today. Any last minute comments that you'd like to share with everybody?
Well, I just want you to know that, next week is going to be quite a week for us. In addition to the meetings that we regularly schedule, we will be in the Capitol until 9:00, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And we'll get off at 5:00 on Friday. But many of our meetings take place at 7:00 in the morning. And so we have to be ready to go at 7:00 in the morning and stay there until 9 or 9:30 at night. And so we are there doing the people's work.
Absolutely. And we, as you said, I encourage everyone to go to OLIS, OLIS.oregonlegislature.gov, and you can watch those hearings, watch those proceedings. You can watch the House and Senate floor, as well as the committee. So participate in your government. Please do. And thank you very much, Representative. A happy Easter and a happy Holy Week to you. I know that's important to you, as it is to me. And look forward to seeing you in the future.
Thank you. It's nice seeing you, Adam.
Always to you too. Thank you very much, everyone, and have a great day.